At 2:17 in the morning, my phone glows like a lighthouse in the dark, its pale blue light spilling across my face. The silence of my Chicago apartment breaks with the buzz of messages, one after another. May, please call us. It's urgent. Where are you? This is an emergency. My hands tremble as I scroll. Every message more frantic than the last. And then, there it is. A news alert. Tyler's mugshot, my stomach knots. My brother's face stares back at me, red-eyed, half smirking. The same smirk that always got him saved. Always. The phone vibrates in my palm. I answer. May, please. You have to help him. Mom's voice cracks, sharp and desperate. What happened? My voice is steady, though the truth is already pressing in on me. Dad cuts in, his tone tighter than I've ever heard. Tyler's been arrested. They're saying wire fraud. Embezzlement, $2.5 million. The FBI's involved. I press my forehead to the window glass, the city lights stretching out like jewels against the dark. I remind them, I'm a corporate attorney, not a defense lawyer. But Dad pushes. You know people. You have connections. This is your brother. And I can't help but remember, 6 months ago, same window, same city skyline. Me on the phone with them, begging for help after water damage wrecked my condo. $12,000. That's all I'd asked. Their response had been cool, dismissive. We'd love to help, but we can't right now. Then the dagger. If you'd been a wife instead of a lawyer, Caleb would have handled it. Caleb, my ex-husband. The one who cheated with my colleague. My fault, apparently, for working too hard. And yet, 2 days later, there they were, smiling on Facebook. Sun-drenched on a Florida fishing boat with Tyler. A $60,000 business investment in the bar that now fronts his fraud. I close my laptop. The quiet click feels final. 33 years of being the afterthought. The daughter in the shadows. May? Are you still there? Dad's voice pulls me back. I pace, calculating in my head. Wire fraud. Federal charges. The years that could mean. I'll come tomorrow, I hear myself say. Relief floods the line. We knew you'd help. Tyler always said you would. The rage is sharp and sudden. They never asked if I could leave, never asked about my life. Just the assumption I'll swoop in, again. I said I'd come. I correct, my tone cold. That's all I promised. At dawn, I close my suitcase. The woman in the mirror looks the same, but her eyes are harder. I'm going to Hartford, yes, but this time on my terms. By morning, I'm standing in my parents' doorway. The house is a shrine to Tyler Evans, baseball trophies, newspaper clippings. His smile frozen in frame after frame. My existence? Scrubbed away? May. Mom rushes forward, stops short of an embrace, her eyes rimmed red, her face bare. Dad lingers behind her, aged and hollow. The dining table is buried in paperwork, bank statements, filings, deeds. My eyes lock on the post-it note. Tyler's bail. You put up the house, I say flatly. 600,000, Mom whispers, wringing her hands. I drop into a chair, scanning the trail of numbers. Wire transfers. Shell companies. Investors bled dry. This isn't a mistake, I say. This is systematic fraud. He was desperate, Mom pleads. But the paper in my hand tells a different story. A transfer. From their account. $45,000. On top of the 60 I already knew about. You knew. I breathe, looking up. You knew months ago. Their silence confirms it. I retreat to the living room, my gaze pulled by muscle memory to the mantel. My graduation photo, gone. Replaced by an article about Tyler's bar. My phone buzzes. Lucas. His voice steadies me. They used their house, I say quietly. They erased me, literally. I'm sorry, May, he says. Remember your boundaries. You don't owe them a rescue. I close my eyes, clinging to his words like a lifeline. Back inside, my parents huddle in whispers. They straighten when I enter, guilty. The prosecutor called, Dad mutters. The hearing's Tuesday. If he violates bail, you lose the house, I remind them. Mom nods, hollow. We had no choice, and in that moment I see it clearly. Decades of sacrifice, decades of blind devotion. Not to me, never to me, always to him. His voice chases me down the sterile corridor, but I don't look back. The clang of the security door slams the moment shut, sealing him inside, and for the first time in decades, I don't feel trapped with him. I feel free. I think of my parents' hollow faces, the desperation they tried to wrap in guilt. Of Tyler's smirk crumbling when the evidence stared him down. Of my own careful saving, the emergency fund I built in quiet defiance when they once turned me away. The irony burns. Tomorrow, he'll face a judge. And this time, the golden boy won't be rescued by mom's pleading or dad's excuses. He'll face the weight of his choices, and me? For the first time in my life, I'm not the afterthought. I'm not the shadow. I'm the one holding the truth, steady and sharp. When I walk out into the September sun, the air feels different, lighter somehow. Like I've been carrying their burden all along and finally set it down. Tyler may still be my brother, but I am done being his safety net. This time, the story belongs to me. The courtroom hums with tension, every cough and shuffle amplified beneath its high ceilings. Reporters line the benches, their pens poised like weapons. My parents sink into their seats beside me, fragile and frayed, while I steady myself with the practiced calm of a lawyer who's seen this room before, but never with her family at its center. Across the aisle, Tyler sits between his attorneys. The gray suit looks borrowed, his shoulders swallowed by its fabric. His hair, once perfectly styled, hangs limp. He stares at the polished table, avoiding my eyes, but I can feel the pull of his presence, the same magnetic force that's dictated my entire life. All rise. The judge enters, and the entire room shifts. I stand tall, hands clasped, chin level. Tyler stands too, though his movements are slower, weighed down. The charges are read aloud. Wire fraud, embezzlement, millions gone. Each word is a nail in the coffin of the boy who was once untouchable. I watch my parents out of the corner of my eye. Mom's face is wet with tears. Dad grips the bench so tightly his knuckles pale. Their devotion is still there, unwavering even now. But this time, I'm not breaking under the weight of it. When the prosecutor outlines the case, the evidence, the paper trail, the victims, I sit straighter, my pulse steady. Every exhibit shown, every forged signature, every transfer to offshore accounts, I already know by heart. I've memorized this story. Tyler's story. But for once, it isn't mine to carry. His attorney rises, voice smooth, painting Tyler as a man who stumbled, who meant no harm, who was under pressure. The words wash over me, flimsy compared to the truth. The judge listens, impassive. I think of the attic, the box of my achievements buried beneath holiday decorations, medals tangled in tinsel, proof of a daughter who was always second best. And then I think of the mantle now, where I placed. Some things break, but sometimes, in the breaking, they let the light in. I stand there, hand pressed to the cold glass, watching the snow spiral through the glow of the street lamps. This city, once my escape, now feels like home in the truest sense. Behind me, laughter drifts faintly from the kitchen where the last of the dishes dry on the rack, where the scent of cinnamon and sage still lingers. For years, I carried a weight of being overlooked, of trying to earn what should have been freely given. A daughter shadowed by her brother's golden glow. A woman expected to clean up the wreckage while her own triumphs gathered dust in forgotten boxes. But tonight, the weight is different. It's not bitterness. It's clarity. I think of Tyler, sitting in a cell but finally writing letters that sound like accountability instead of excuses. Of my parents, no longer blind, no longer bending themselves into pretzels to defend him. Of Lucas, whose steady hand turned my solitude into something whole. The frost creeps slowly beneath my fingertips, delicate but unstoppable. Just like change. Just like me. I turn from the window, leaving the shadows behind. For the first time in my life, I'm not the afterthought. I'm the center of my own story. And this time, it's just beginning.